Who wants Indian food? That's what we're making today in the Instant Pot. I'm going to show you how to make my version of Indian butter chicken. It's a little different from what you'll find in Indian restaurants, but it is every bit as good, maybe even better. Let's give it a try. Since we'll be using the Instant Pot for both the rice and the masala, about an hour before dinner, you're going to want to make the rice in your Instant Pot. Put 1 part rice with 1 part water, add about 1.5 to 2 teaspoons salt, fasten the lid, set the vent to seal, and select the rice function on your Instant Pot. After the rice is finished cooking, remove it from the Instant Pot and place it in a bowl over simmering water. Put a lid over the bowl, clean out your Instant Pot, and get ready to make the main course. First, we're going to puree some onions in a food processor. I'm using yellow onions for this recipe, but you can use any variety of onion you like. Once those are done, add them to a bowl. Let's move on to the carrots. I've got about 3 to 4 medium carrots here, and I've cut them into big pieces, and I'm going to do the same thing with the carrots that I did with the onions. And once that's finished, I'm going to add that to the bowl with my onions. Time to prepare the garlic and ginger. I have about 6 giant cloves of garlic here, and I am going to whir them up in my food processor until they are very finely minced and put them in a bowl. Fun fact about ginger. Ginger is a pain because you have to peel it, and it also keeps well in the freezer. So what I typically do is peel more than I need for the recipe, whir them up in the food processor, and set aside a 1/4 cup for this recipe. Then I take the leftovers, portion them into ice cube trays, and store them in the freezer for future use. I have another recipe that calls for ginger on my cooking channel. It's the Thai curry shrimp with vegetables. I highly recommend you check it out. Save your leftover ginger from this one and use it there. Time to prepare the chicken breast. Pat them dry with a paper towel and then lightly salt them and pepper them on both sides. Once that's finished, let's make the spice combo. Into a bowl, I'm going to place 2 teaspoons smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons garam masala, 2 teaspoons cumin, 2 teaspoons turmeric, 2 teaspoons salt, and 1/2 teaspoon cayenne, and I'm going to mix that to combine them. In a separate bowl, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of black mustard seed, and 4 to 5 cardamom pods that I'm going to split here by hand. Both the pods and the seeds are going to go into our curry. We are going to bloom these aromatics in the hot oil when we make our masala. A quick public service announcement. I would add 1/2 of a cinnamon stick here. I didn't have any today, but I'm going to encourage you, if you've got one, to add it to the mustard seed and the cardamom and bloom it when you bloom those spices. Okay, let's get cooking. So take your Instant Pot and set it to saute normal and add 3 tablespoons of olive oil and let it get nice and hot. Once the oil is hot, we're going to add the mustard seeds and the cardamom and give them a good stir for about maybe a minute, minute and a half until they're nice and fragrant, but we definitely don't want them to burn, so just keep them moving in the pot. Next, we are going to add our onion and carrot. Once we've added them, we're just going to keep stirring them around and let them get nice and soft. The pureed carrot and onion gives our masala a delicious sweet flavor. It gives it some texture too. So we're just going to keep stirring this around while it cooks. And then once it's soft, we're going to add the tomato paste and we're going to keep mixing that in really well. We want it to be well incorporated with our carrot and our onion. Now for the additional aromatics. We're going to add the ginger and the garlic and add the spices. Give those aromatics a kick around the Instant Pot until you can smell them. That's going to take about a minute, 30 seconds, depending on how hot your pot is. But once you can smell them, they're fully bloomed, and it'll be time to add our crushed tomatoes. I'm using a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes here and have mixed it really well with my other ingredients. Now it's time for the chicken broth. Add 1.5 cups of chicken broth. This is the same broth I have a recipe for on my cooking channel, so please feel free to check that out. We're going to get that well mixed in. And after it is well mixed in, it's time to add our chicken. Submerge the chicken breasts in the sauce. Try to keep them from touching the bottom of the pot, but make sure they're fully submerged in the liquid. I also like to make sure that they're not touching each other so that they cook evenly. An important note here, thicker sauces do run a risk of scorching in the Instant Pot, and this is a pretty thick sauce. One of the ways to thin it out is with the chicken broth. Another way is to give the masala some time to rest in the Instant Pot with the pot turned off and the lid on for about 10 to 20 minutes. This lets additional moisture and steam gather in the pot, which will help prevent it from scorching. After the 10 to 20 minute rest period, it's time to set our vent to seal and cook on high pressure for about 10 minutes. Now, the cook time is going to depend on the size of your chicken breasts and whether or not they are thawed or frozen. If your chicken breasts are thawed and on the large side, or if they're frozen, you're going to want to increase that cook time to about 15 minutes. Once the cook cycle is complete, let the pot natural release for about 10 minutes. Then carefully vent the remaining steam and remove the lid. Test the chicken with a meat thermometer, and if the temperature is above 155 degrees, take the chicken breasts out of the pot and transfer them to a cutting board. Using a very sharp knife, cut the chicken into bite-sized pieces. Use gentle pressure while you're cutting and let the sharpness of your blade do the work. This will keep your chicken breasts from shredding. Once we're done with our chicken breasts, we're going to set those aside and we're going to remove the liner from the inside of the Instant Pot. Add to the pot 2 teaspoons of garam masala, followed by 12 tablespoons of butter. No judgment here, people. That butter is flavor. It is going to make our sauce really thick and delicious, so don't skimp on it. Stir the pot around until that butter is nice and melted. Adding cold butter to the pot will help cool the temperature of the sauce down in preparation for adding the cream. If the sauce is too hot when the cream goes in, it will separate and be runny. Next up is the cilantro. I love cilantro, so I add about a half cup. Some people are predisposed to thinking cilantro is akin to eating a bar of soap. If that's true for you, just leave it out. Time to get out the immersion blender. We're going to put the immersion blender on low and stir it around in the pot until the sauce is our desired consistency. Once that's finished, it's time to add the chicken back to the sauce and stir in the cream. How much cream you add really depends on your taste. I like to start with just a little bit and stir it around and then give it a quick taste. If you'd like it to be thicker and creamier, add a little more. I usually end up adding about a half cup. The chicken is in, the cream is added. That leaves us with one more thing to do. It's time to eat. Serve this over a bed of steamed rice and top it with additional cilantro if you're using it. This dish goes great with the naan recipe from my channel. Here it is right here. And now I'm going to try this out on my boyfriend Michael. Let's see what he thinks. Yay! This recipe is boyfriend approved, and I think your family's going to like it too. Butter chicken is really not that difficult to make. I hope you'll give it a try, and if you do, let me know in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching, and happy cooking, y'all.